Hi, hello everyone. So, welcome to the AI Dilemma Balancing Innovation and Consumer Trust in Marketing, which will be led by Robin. My name's Daniela. I'm here as a support representing um, the Oxford College of Marketing. So what we do is we specialize in the qualifications for the CIM, and we have a multitude of pathways that students can kind of opt for to gain more knowledge and to gain a qualification in these topics. So, for example, we have an AI module that's currently running for the CIM level 6 or level 4. And if people are kind of interested in learning a little bit more about that course, I'll pop some information in the chat. But essentially, yep, we're here to kind of support you and guide you through any questions that you may have regarding any of the qualifications and if you'd like to upskill in any way. And it will build on some of these topics that will be addressed in Robin's Martech Club.
Yes. And as you all know, Martech is my favorite thing in the whole wide world. And some of the new CIM syllabus actually covers Martech, and I support with the CIM specialist module in AI. And I can see some names of people who've already taken it. And yeah, it's really fun to get into the nitty gritty of the tech that is now empowering our kind of marketing world. And today we are all about how we have to balance the line between innovation and tech use and our consumer experience and the way that people are interacting with our marketing processes, campaigns, and the impact that AI is having. So for those that are new, very, very welcome. So I am a marketing nerd. I have my digital agency now based in Gothenburg, and I am a course tutor at Oxford College of Marketing. And if there's an AI certification within marketing out there, I have it, because this technology is not going to go away. And that is why we kind of created the Martech Club, because we need spaces like this to talk about what is actually going on, what we need to do, new tools within the kind of market, and also to have a safe space to talk about it, right? With no judgment. And today we are looking at the AI dilemma. So we are going to be working through how we balance innovation with consumer trust. And as always, I like to cement things in real life. So we have two case studies that kind of go through the positives that can happen and the negatives, and kind of look at how we need to really address this new technology and what it does, how it does it, and the impact of it overall. So we're going to look at consumer perspectives on AI. We're going to go through those two juicy case studies. We're going to kind of look at the impact of neglecting MarTech within that AI process. And we're going to look at consumer expectations and responsible AI integration. And it's all a lot more fun than those titles kind of suggest. So today, we have so much information at our fingertips as marketers. We are data rich. We can collect information about who comes to our website, what they do, the impact of our marketing. But are we actually looking at how these new technologies are impacting consumer trust? How well is it actually being perceived? Or are we just assuming that because this new piece of tech is out there, that we should be doing it like everybody else does? As we go through this session, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat and we'll make sure that they get answered. And if you've got any questions, please put it in the Slack channel at the end if we don't get them answered by the time we get done. So let's look at some current, up-to-the-date kind of statistics and influences of AI on our consumers. So 75% of consumers, so that's pretty much anybody who connects to the internet, right, have used AI tools like ChatGPT, demonstrating broad awareness of this tool, because all of a sudden it's having its iPhone moment. It's incredibly accessible. My mum, who cannot order anything to her house, has asked ChatGPT things. So there is this broad kind of acceptance that AI is here, everybody uses it, everybody knows what it is. And as marketers, we need to be aware that this signifies a significant shift in consumer familiarity and comfort with AI. We expect it, our consumers expect it, yeah? And this widespread usage indicates that a large portion of any of your target audience is not only open to, but also expects AI-driven interactions. And all of the good stuff that comes with that, like personalized experiences. So leveraging AI in your marketing strategies is a necessity because we're trying to meet these evolving kind of expectations. We're trying in a very saturated market to enhance engagement, and we're trying to stay competitive. And 75% of those that interact with our marketing content are already using AI on a daily basis. That's a huge number. That when I looked at that maybe 6 months ago, we were only at probably 30%. And now, as of nearly Q4 of this year, we are at 75% of our consumers are savvy with AI tools, technology, and processes. And we need to take note of that. Yeah. So the next kind of statistic I wanted to bring into here was that only 51% of consumers reported positive experiences with AI-driven personalization. 27% found it very positive, but 24% view it negatively. So even though we're using it daily, we expect it, we interact with it, well, 75% of your consumers on average connect with it, there's still this uncertainty, this lack of education, yeah? And this statistic, it underscores that dual impact of AI-driven personalization, customer perceptions, and education around AI. So this offers us a significant opportunity as marketers to leverage AI to deliver these better kind of campaigns and marketing efforts, personalization, speeding up our own processes. But we need to be mindful that only half of our consumers find it a positive experience. Yeah. So there's still much more to be done when it comes to understanding how our use of AI or anybody's use of AI is impacting our clients, communities, and consumers. We're still only at half experience AI in a positive way. And that's not enough. 1 out of 2 people who potentially experience AI supported marketing content do not find it a positive experience. We've got a lot of work to do. Yeah. Now, this is a number that is continuing to rise. Yeah. So 63% of your consumers claim that they can detect when AI is used. That's huge. Gone are the few kind of months where we were struggling to kind of recognize what was human created, what was AI created. And this statistic is incredibly important because it highlights the growing consumer awareness of AI, especially within marketing communications. So 63% of your potential consumers claim they can detect when AI is used. So we now need to be transparent, be better, create more enhanced experiences, and not just rely that the content and stuff that we get out of AI is actually creating these better experiences. Because if 63% of your consumers can detect it's AI, and only 50% of those overall consumers are actually enjoying it, there's a juxtaposition there. And a lot of the time, AI content is still attempted to be concealed within brands' content. And there is a feeling that we need to downplay the use of AI, whereas realistically, many individuals are using ChatGPT to create written content now for a lot of brands. But because we're not open about it as marketers, there's no way to detect it in a lot of instances. Like, for sure, we just feel like it's not human. There's a lot of distrust and skepticism among consumers. So when I look at these kind of statistics, I recognize that these tools are great. They should definitely be used, but we need to know as marketers what they do, how they do it, and what the impact of that AI created content is. Or else we're just going to get swept up in this wonderful technology that everyone's using, everyone's talking about. Everything is AI powered. And we are slowly actually eroding the wonderful communities and consumer trust that we've built up over the years with our human powered content. Yeah. So then now let's look at this kind of fourth statistic. So 46% of your average consumers have made purchases based on AI recommendations. Yeah, that's wonderful. But when you compare that to ad conversion, which is generally like you're looking at a 60% at a good conversion for your ads, it's still not great. But it is another way to drive consumer loyalty. But we haven't quite got it right yet. And this kind of statistic shows that we are still kind of failing at understanding and utilizing AI to be the most effective, which again highlights the need to truly understand what this technology does within our marketing processes. So what are the key concerns and the key benefits from a consumer point of view when marketers use AI to promote, to push people along a sales journey, to retarget all of those marketing processes? And as we can see, that the statistics that we just went through show a mixed bag of emotions when it comes to consumers interacting and their thoughts regarding AI. And we as marketers need to understand that impact. I will use that word quite a lot today, and it's all well and good knowing the benefits and kind of the concerns, but what does that actually mean for us as marketers at this point of AI integration within our sector? So if we look at the concerns, so we can be a negative Nelly kind of first. And the biggest concern is data privacy and security. So our consumers, our clients, our communities cite data privacy as a major concern. And this is all revolving around how personal information is collected, stored, and used by brands employing AI technologies. And the problem is that because some AI technology is a black box, we deploy data in, and then realistically, we don't know what happens in some instances there. We can't actually explain that. The next kind of concern is over personalization and intrusiveness. In the last 3 months, 20% of AI generated ads were rejected due to complaints of over personalization. We felt as consumers discomfort. They knew a little bit too much. It's all well and good kind of Googling things at 2 a.m. like that you've seen on TikTok, but then that kind of retargeting AI-driven hyper-personalization was just too much. And 28% view of Facebook users who were kind of polled around these AI ads in the last 3 months view AI-driven personalization negatively, because it's breaching that personal boundary that we expect to have as a consumer. So then we have things like lack of transparency, right? 63% of consumers claim they can detect AI, but what percentage do you think brands actually state they are creating AI-driven content? Just drop it in the chat and I'll carry on and then come back. So how many brands do you think actively showcase that they are using AI content? Give me a percentage in the chat. And then we have things like accuracy and bias in those recommendations. So we struggle then because concerns exist about the accuracy. The data that is fed into the AI system needs to be good, clean, voluptuous. And if we don't have that, rubbish goes in, rubbish goes out. And then our consumers are impacted by that content. And then we also have things like ethical considerations. Of course, we struggle with kind of understanding the ethics around the content that we create and the ethical impact. And a very interesting statistic is that when marketers are questioned about AI use within things like retargeting and hyper-personalization, 73% of marketers that were involved in a very recent study have ethical concerns regarding AI use. And this indicates a broader awareness, actually, of potential ethical pitfalls. So these concerns come from our consumers directly in relation to this innovative technology, this technology that is being praised in every feed that you look around. And as marketers, we really need to understand that our actions have implications. This technology has implications. Yeah? But it is not all doom and gloom, I promise, because we do have some benefits. So even though we have questions about over-personalization, we also like to be seen and heard by our brands and the products that we like and the influencers that we follow and what they kind of share. And this can, if done correctly, enhance the overall shopping experience. Yeah. And recommendation of relevant products is also a necessity for businesses. We are living in an incredibly saturated world, and e-commerce websites can be overly complicated. We like instant gratification as consumers, and these kind of AI algorithms that analyze consumer behavior to suggest products that align with their interests showed a 46% uplift in brand recognition for the brands that took this on early when the kind of AI boom started to happen. We love improved convenience and efficiency. And for a consumer, AI can truly streamline the shopping process, helping consumers find what they need more quickly and easily. Yeah. So it's a double-edged sword. Yeah. And also interactive AI tools can create really wonderful enhanced engagement, making marketing, campaigns, content really, really interesting if, from the marketing perspective, we're using the right AI tool, the right AI generated content, the right AI generated process. Yeah. So, and it's about aligning these concerns and benefits, because we do really need to understand the impact. And understanding consumers' feelings about AI is crucial, because even though we are using a technologically run process, we still need to connect authentically in the very saturated world that we exist in as consumers and marketers. And although many consumers appreciate that personalized experience that AI can offer, enhancing their shopping and interaction with those kind of brands, there are genuine concerns about data privacy, over personalization, and transparency that we spoke about. So by being mindful of both the positives and concerns, marketers can bridge the gap and use this kind of tool to engage, create better experiences, which in essence is an increased ROI, which is more money in the bank, right? Which is the whole purpose of marketing in the first place. So I'm going to go on to, oh yes, I forgot to tell you the statistic. It was 8%. So sadly, you all gave, those that messaged me an answer, all gave too high. You gave brands too much credit. It was only 8% that actually stated that their AI content was AI generated. So now we're going to go into 2 case studies. And the first is about the failure of AI generated content for political gain. So you may have seen this, it was huge. And this is the Swifties versus Trump. So in August 2024, former president shared a series of AI generated images on his social media platform, Truth Social. And they falsely depicted pop star Taylor Swift and her fans endorsing his presidential campaign. So these were quite intense images, right? So we go from the ones that we could probably very easily say that it's AI generated. Yeah, this is definitely not the real Taylor Swift. This is almost like a propaganda poster that was definitely AI generated. But as you're scrolling through your feeds, you may not have noticed that this was AI generated, or these were. And the images showed digitally created young women, especially, wearing Swifties for Trump t-shirts. And these images were not genuine photographs, but were produced using generative AI technology. Yeah. And the origin of the images were actually created by John Milton Freedom Foundation, which is a Texas-based nonprofit organization that presents itself as a supporter of press freedom and independent journalism. This foundation has a history of spreading misinformation and has been involved in promoting right-wing media influencers. And the AI-generated platforms were initially shared on the social media platform X, which is kind of connected by the account that was connected to the foundation. These images spread like wildfire through all platforms. They ended up in the news. And the key thing to remember here that this is AI generated marketing content. Yeah. So Trump himself reposted these screenshots. Many individuals did, both in anger and in kind of disbelief and in support. So it spread like wildfire. And the images did not have any clear disclaimer. And this led to huge misleading of consumers and viewers into believing that they were authentic. There was a small study done with multiple individuals from different cultures, ages, experiences that were shown these images, and I think only 9% guessed these types were AI because they were so well done. When Trump himself was questioned about the images, Trump stated they were real, and then he backtracked and said he was unaware of their origin. Yeah. And what happened was that this led to a whole case of checking the quality of both political campaigns' online content. So any presidential person that was in the race to become president has now had to have every single one of their images identified as AI generated or not AI generated. And what does this cause? It causes mistrust. It causes a misunderstanding of AI content. It causes a lack of acceptance of this new technology. It causes uneasiness with any political campaign or piece of marketing that now goes out from this party and others. And the impact also discredits the use of AI within marketing. This was a significant, I would use the word blunder, because it has negatively impacted not only the trust of this technology, but also all those involved. Taylor Swift had to write a whole statement about it. Donald Trump had to backtrack on his words. And these images were shared over 1 billion times across all social media platforms, which is terrifying. So when we look at this eroding of consumer trust with AI technology, it's very easy to see why this happens, right? And that's because realistically, we feel lied to as consumers. If your favorite brand or kind of music artist did the same, how would you feel about them in the future? So that's a very kind of negative case study about how AI generated content that was used for political gain went south very quickly. But if we look at kind of another AI-driven marketing process that really won over the hearts of consumers, and that's Sephora. So Sephora online shopping is incredibly overwhelming. So Sephora, a leading beauty retailer, recognized that many of its customers were experiencing the paradox of choice, feeling overwhelmed by the vast array of products available. Shoppers were spending excessive time browsing through numerous pages, struggling to find the right product that suited their specific needs and preferences, churning out of the website, not staying to even kind of purchase at the end, right? They were just spending time trying to understand what color foundation, what type of foundation, all that kind of stuff. And what they did was they implemented a wonderful way to overcome this challenge. And they addressed this by turning to AI-powered chatbot technology. And this transformed that shopping experience from overwhelming to personalized and engaging. The brand introduced interactive chatbots that function as digital beauty consultants. So no longer did you have to kind of guess, order wrongly, lose the will to live on the website and actually get the product, the right shade, whatever you needed through this AI interaction. And these chatbots were designed not to sell products, actually, but to guide and assist. Their main goal was not to push for sales. It was purely information-based. And each shopper could give it its individual preferences. So by utilizing natural language processing and machine learning, the chatbots engage customers in conversations, asking questions about their skin type, beauty goals, all that kind of stuff, product references if necessary. And then based on the responses, the AI provides personalized product recommendations, beauty tips, and tutorials. One notable implementation was on platforms like Facebook Messenger, where users could actually interact through social media, not just the website. So it was kind of meeting the customers wherever they felt that was the best for them. And you can see like it was just a very nice chatbot that gave you the information that you were really, the questions that you needed to be asked to get the product that you needed at the end of the day. The chatbot also offered through generative AI and AI kind of experiences, Features such as virtual color matching, allowing you as a user to actually try on different shades of makeup using augmented reality. From that, customers could book in-store makeover sessions directly through the chatbot, moving people forward through that kind of wonderful sales journey, making the transition from online to in-person pretty seamless, right? And this was glorious. This AI-driven marketing tactic was wonderful. And it significantly enhanced the customer experience by simplifying the decision-making process and providing personalized assistance. As consumers, we appreciated the convenience of having this virtual beauty consultant available 24/7 on the platform that we wanted them to be, which made shopping more efficient and more enjoyable. Those AI-driven personalized interactions made customers feel understood and valued as the AI product recommendations tailored to them. And because it was almost in this one-on-one, you were getting a talk-back response, there was no feeling of over intrusion, because as consumers, we had had this exchange. The virtual try-on feature added an element of fun and interactivity, allowing us as consumers to experiment and try things with no commitment. So when the customers were then, oh, bless me, would then kind of polled after and had a survey, they felt so much less overwhelmed, more confident. Churn rate was down 30% from these exchanges, which is an incredible number. And the immediate responses and helpful guidance increased satisfaction and trust in the brand overall. So this is a big win, right? So as I said, you got mega higher conversion rates, and they even got things like a 20% increased conversion rate for bringing people in store, which is wonderful. You're bringing people into a place where they can purchase more, experience the in-person brand out of a digital setting. The chatbot got high levels of interaction from all ages and generations. So women who felt they were maybe too old to go to Sephora were still getting help and purchasing online, right? And then they had this positive customer perception. So customers viewed the chatbot as valuable and convenient. And that is the power that this AI-driven marketing tactic gave to Sephora to enhance the experience, the purpose, the engagement, the joy felt within this brand. So Sephora's strategic implementation of this AI process transformed a potential pain point into an opportunity to provide a curated and personalized shopping experience. And consumers responding positively to the AI-generated content, feeling that this technology within this marketing exchange added value to their shopping experience without being intrusive. And it really does underscore how successful AI-driven innovation within the marketing sector can be. Whereas if we go back a few slides, we can see that the misuse or the lack of transparency within some AI-driven marketing processes can also be incredibly detrimental. So it is like walking a tightrope. And I was sent this GIF after talking at a digital analytics conference in Copenhagen, because realistically, we walk the tightrope as marketers kind of all the time, but the impact of AI-generated marketing processes and kind of content has a huge potential to negatively impact our consumers. And we need to balance the customer journey, the experience that we want to present as a brand, what is expected by our consumers with this innovative piece of technology. So I hope when you kind of next look at implementing AI, you remember this image, right? I couldn't stop laughing. I don't know why she has like her business attire on while she's trying to avoid the sharks, but it's quite memorable. So what do our consumers actually now expect? So if we consider, if we were able to put all of our kind of potential customers in a room and honestly discuss what an individual now expects from AI-driven marketing processes and interactions, these are the 6 ones that come out most of the time. And the first one is personalized experience. So we want products, services, and content suggestions that align with our personal preferences. So as marketers, we need to know that, yeah? As consumers, we want relevant communications. We want marketing messages that are directly applicable to my interests and what I'm doing in life, right? And as marketers, we need to be hyper aware of that. And that is because if you think of things like Netflix, we have actually become data savvy as consumers. With exposure to those kind of platforms, we are accustomed to personalized recommendations now. But we need to use these AI innovative technologies in the correct way to ensure that those recommendations, those relevant messages are purposeful to our consumers. And that is because there is a desire from consumers to save time. We have a desire for relevance, and we want to have an enhanced experience, which as marketers, we now need to provide. Yeah. So as marketers, we can leverage AI for personalization. Personalization can lead to higher customer satisfaction, but we need to balance privacy within this expectation. So we need to ensure data is used responsibly to avoid overstepping privacies and boundaries. So that's the first thing, right? With the rise of AI-driven chatbots, consumers now expect immediate support from an interaction that is more than just, here is the booking page on Ryanair that you need to look at. Consumers now expect instant responses, intelligent assistance that can resolve issues potentially without human intervention. And that is because we have this now on-demand culture. So the digital age has fostered within our consumers expectations of immediate gratification. We're all the same. We want the information quickly. We don't necessarily want to talk to a person because that can be more troublesome sometimes. And we want this convenience factor, this quick support as consumers. But the implications for marketers is AI-powered chatbots are much more powerful than traditional decision tree kind of choices. And we need to think, where do we put this AI interaction? Is it on our website? Is it through social media? Is it through pop-ups on a landing page? Like, there's all these kind of questions, but we need to ensure that it is quality interactions. And how do we know or support that AI process to know when to hand over to a human agent? So that's the implications there for us because of this new expectation that we need to provide for our consumers, right? Consumers now also expect proactive and predictive service offerings. We want to feel seen and heard by the brands that we interact with. So we have this anticipation that they understand what we are going to need. So brands should try to predict what I, as a consumer, might need or might want next. And also preventative solutions. So if a website recognizes that I am maybe a new mum, then it could anticipate I may need new baby clothes in 6 months, a year's time, and provide me with the solutions for that with the preferences I may have already purchased about. Yeah. So And we can do this by using AI predictive analytics, and we need, as marketers, to use the data that we can collect fed into the right AI-driven technology to anticipate those needs. But as we kind of looked back at the concerns and things like that, we need to avoid missteps. So we need to ensure that the predictions are accurate. We're using the right data, the right AI tools. We're not being intrusive. So that's the kind of implication that we have to deal with there. There's also a need or expectation of transparency. So we need to recognize that our consumers now expect honesty about AI use, about ethical data practices. And this is because there is an increased awareness. So consumers are more informed about data privacy and AI capabilities now. We can't stick our head in the sand and just assume they're not going to notice, right? And the implication for us as marketers here is that we need to communicate openly, be transparent, and also prioritize ethical AI deployment and privacy. So making sure that we are complying with data protection regulations and respecting customer preferences overall. And the last one is also all to do with kind of data, and that's enhanced personal security. So consumers know that AI technology needs data. Yeah, it's not hidden. It's talked about a lot. It's that kind of thing. So we want to have AI confidence as a consumer with the brands that are openly using AI. So the implications for us as marketers here, we need to make sure that we invest in AI security, reassure customers, and demonstrate responsibility. Yes, yeah, of course. If you want to go through the questions before we move on to the last bit, that'd be great. Oh, you're muted, Daniela.
Hello, so sorry about that.
Hello.
So we have
It's okay.
Laura Lemery who put, do you think that these issues are also the case within B2B market, not just B2C?
Yes, anywhere that AI is used in any marketing capacity. And that is because even if you are B2B, you are still marketing to a human at the end of the day. So it's the humans that make the choices within the businesses, right? And there's even more skepticism between maybe SaaS platforms because there's so much AI use in their kind of ads and content that a lot of SaaS platforms are now sounding the same overall. So I would say yes. And I would probably say in any instance where you are creating something with a purpose of somebody taking an action online.
Okay. And Sophia Wang popped in, so this would be the last question. If AI tool for audio content generation, what would be your opinion about the audience engagement and authenticity of the brand?
Well, I might have to read that question again.
So 1 minute, so it says my presumption is if an AI tool is used for audio content generation, what would be your opinion about the audience engagement and authenticity of the brand?
Yeah, so anytime we are using generative AI, we need to make sure we're using the right tool for the audience or the purpose we're creating it for. But also we need to recognize as marketers, is that actually appropriate for that instance? So if this is like for a voiceover for an ad, for example, to save some money on production and things like that, have we got the right voice? And a great way to do that is to test before it actually goes live so that then you know what you're trying to get out of it using that AI powered generative process, for example. That's a good question. Okay, so now quickly, what I want to talk to you about is responsible AI integration. And this is one way that we as marketers can kind of be more on the positive side of AI use. And the first thing is prioritize data privacy and security. So implement strong data protection measures. So utilize encryption, regular audits, obtain informed consent. So clearly communicate to customers what data is being collected and how it will be used within AI processes. Adhere to your good regulations, GDPR, CCPA, and minimize your data collection. This is incredibly important, and it will become more and more important the more we use AI. And that's collect only the data necessary for you to provide things like those personalized recommendations. If you are a kind of beauty brand, you don't really need to know what kind of car somebody has or where they went to school, that kind of thing. So collect the data that is necessary for the AI process overall. Yeah, so that's the first thing we can do to be more responsible within our AI integration. This is a key one that as more and more regulations come into play, we need to be able to have explainability in our AI interactions. So what I mean by this from a marketing standpoint is that we need to disclose AI usage, so inform customers when they are interacting with AI generated systems or content. We also need to provide explainable AI outputs. So we need to use systems that explain their decisions or recommendations. And like I say, some tools are kind of black box, and that isn't the way to be ethical within your AI use moving forward. Another thing is that when you're doing your kind of marketing within your chat box, always offer human support options. Don't rely on that AI process. And also educate customers. Offer some resources or guides that help, or even your social media or kind of short form content that help customers understand how AI is enhancing their experience. Kind of demystify that technology for your clients overall. That's incredibly important. And then what we want to do is maintain a human-centric design approach. And what I mean by that is every time that you are integrating AI into your marketing or creating AI-generated X, Y, or Z that somebody is going to interact with, put the person at the forefront of those choices. So put your consumer in the hot seat for a second and kind of understand or look at how that is going to affect them throughout the whole customer journey. Yeah. Do not, that's not the best sentence. Think about who is going to interact with that content, that AI process before it goes live, or else you might get the Trump effect, right? Where this kind of snowballed into something that eroded trust, misuse, because it wasn't really thought about in the best way. We need to implement ethical AI practices. So make sure the data that we're putting into AI is good, proper, wonderful. So we don't get rubbish in, rubbish out. We don't spread misinformation. We don't glorify things that aren't correct. And then we need to use AI as an enhancement tool. So we need to see it as not a replacement for human interaction, brand creation, brand trust, and more of an addition to enhancing the customer journey with AI augmentation. And by focusing on these kind of best practices, organizations can integrate AI responsibly, creating enhanced customer experiences that respect privacy and maintain a human touch. It really is a balancing act, yeah? And we're balancing customer expectations with innovation within the marketing sector. And we need to bring those together to position the brands that we work with, the clients that we work with, the products that we sell, for long-term success in a more and more AI-driven world. Yeah. And it truly is a balancing act. And I work with big companies, small companies, everything in between, multiple sectors. And the biggest problem I see is when brands detach from who we're actually marketing to and get swept up in the new piece of technology that we can implement, the new platform, the new process. And that is the key here. That is how you are going to be able to bridge that gap. And that is it for me. I would like to again highlight the wonderful CIM specialist digital words. I'm very biased. This is my favorite. They're a wonderful way to deep dive into kind of what AI is doing within marketing, but there's some glorious kind of themes and sectors and areas within marketing you can also go into here. We also have our wonderful Martech Club, which is held on Slack, where I put tools, questions. Whenever I find something wonderful in the AI world, I will put it in there. And you can also ask me questions or drop in kind of ideas or thoughts that you're having, and then we can kind of discuss those together. It's a safe place to kind of go through this wonderful technological change that's happening again within marketing. So thank you. If you've got any more questions, please drop them in the chat. That'd be amazing.
There's a question from Anina MK, which says, what are the best AI tools that a marketer should know?
Oh, that's a big question for a Monday. There is different AI tools for different purposes. There's not one tool to rule all. So I think a great place to start is to actually truly understand what you're trying to achieve using AI within marketing. And I think once you've done that, I would purely Google it, but Google reviews and see what you already have within your organization. So what does that AI tool need to connect to? What output you need the AI tool to give you? And there's a lot of kind of indexes and directories, which I'll put into the Slack channel, so you can kind of work way through the top 10 or whatever, what's being used the most. But honestly, it depends on what you're trying to use it for and what you already have within your kind of tech stack.
Okay, Sophia Wang also popped into the chat. Could you please spell out what it entails, a CIM AI marketing course? Okay, so if you were to opt for one of the specialist awards for the CIM, it's a short qualification, so it only takes about 6 weeks to complete. And what it would cover would be everything to do with AI, essentially, talking about how to effectively respond to developments within the technology, understand how to apply it to your marketing, as well as there being strategic insight into the impact of marketing within the business environment and the resources required to implement AI technologies. And it will just basically give you a rundown of the knowledge and skills that you'll need to kind of use to respond to these developments. And yep, you can apply that through us. So you can go to our website, which would be Oxford College of Marketing. I'm also going to pop a link in the chat for you. Or you can always just drop us an email. We can be more than happy to provide you with further information. I will do that now. In the meantime, Robin, Sophia also asked another question, which was, what essential skills are marketers expected to have in the era of AI?
Ooh. It's very simple, and that is two things. And one is basic data analysis, so understanding where data comes from, how you can capture it and how you can use it within AI processes, and also critical thinking, because realistically we've been using kind of AI driven tools for years. within marketing. It's just much more opportunity now. So recognizing the basic foundations of what AI is, what the tool does, and what your outputs are going to be from that tool, and then the impact of that output. And I think the CIM AI and marketing course is really good for that. And we have a laugh along the way. It's really good. It's a really fun course.
Someone
Oh,
also
thank you,
popped into
Anastasia.
the chat. Oh, yes, sorry, I was about to read it out for you.
That's okay. But I hope to see everybody back in 2 weeks when we go on to the next one.